May have been some sort of a fire truck. Come on, girl.
It would have caught on fire or fried some electrical components. Woo! 125 bucks. The truck has decided to not let me back in. Woo! Do we have a blown trans? We might.
Somebody did a cat delete on it.
Oh no. I think the truck. Oh. Guys, I genuinely cannot believe that this happened, but I just won this pickup truck for $125. And because I've been accused of lying to you guys before, here's the proof straight from Copart's website. Now, deals like this are incredibly rare even on insurance auctions, but in this case we just got super lucky because this was a pure sale, as well as it was listed in medium duty box trucks auction, which this isn't, so nobody who was in that auction really cared about it. So with no time to waste, I got it delivered to my shop. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you what I believe to be the cheapest truck in the world.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah.
Granted, this thing has definitely seen some better days. It definitely had quite an experience, but I bought it for a $125 bid, meaning that not a single person besides from me bid on this. The starting bid was $100. I clicked once and within 10 seconds, this truck became mine. I've always known that Copart has quite good deals. I'm no stranger to taking advantage of that, but this is next level of good deals. This is a 2014 Chevy Silverado that is apparently not running or driving. In fact, it doesn't start, it doesn't respond to the key at all. It doesn't seem to want to get power. Now, as a small car dealer, I am slightly concerned about whether this bed is going to add value to the truck or decrease it, but either way, I think we're gonna be fine. So I guess let's take a closer look. Obviously this thing is dead, but I would really like to see if I can get her to do something. Looks like we have some sort of a, I don't know what, prestige maybe, but we got some WeatherTech floor mats. That's pretty sick. Decent amount of legroom in the back seat. A lot more than I would have expected. Unfortunately, no trailer brake controller. We got 4 low, 2 high, 4 high. So we got 4-wheel drive. Excellent. I mean, obviously this is a 2014, but still, I've seen these trucks with a ton of rust, and this one is luckily doing pretty good. Just like at Copart, this truck doesn't seem to want to start. I checked the battery terminals. They seem to be fine. We have a missing windshield washer cap, and the oil level, well, the dipstick kind of looks weird, but the oil level looks good. This bed is in pretty decent shape. This is pretty good. May have been some sort of a fire truck. This is probably the worst part of the damages. This is going to be expensive. All right, jump starter seems to be connected. Any life? Come on, girl. Come on. What's up with that? Maybe missing some sort of a fuse, because I don't know, with this cover missing, I'm not super confident. Yeah, nothing. Odd. There's a slight chance we'll have different results if we connect to the main battery, but nope, same old thing, completely zero power. That plug here was unplugged, just realized that, so let's do that. Not that this is going to affect anything. You know, I wonder if we have a damaged ground and that's why we're not getting any power. That's a possibility. Like that thing over there, see that? The good news is that we're not having any leaks. This thing seems to be pretty nice and dry. I do wonder what this is. This doesn't look stock. Could this be for like a snowplow attachment or something? Oh, no, the lights do work. Okay, so we have some power. There is a relay that I hear clicking. Interesting. There is all kinds of aftermarket wiring in all these places. I'm guessing a lot of it has to do with just the things that they have added to this truck, like the lights. All of these guys do need their own circuit if installed properly. But why is it not getting power to the starter or the ignition? Something I should probably attempt is hooking up both batteries to a jump starter. One of them is probably for accessories, the other one is for actually starting. There's only one way to find out if that's gonna change anything. Okay. Make sure this thing is in park. There is that click from the relay, so the ignition switch seems to be working. Now this comes as no surprise, but we do have a very, very dead battery. We're reading under 5 volts, but that really shouldn't be that much of an issue when I'm hooking up a jump starter to it. And then from this battery, I'm reading 4. So very, very dead batteries. Maybe we'll have some luck if we pull these batteries out, give them a full charge, and try it again. Okay, I actually just had an extra fully charged battery that I threw in instead of the old one. This I think I'm gonna leave in place. It's just auxiliary. I don't think it's gonna matter too much, but worst case we can try and swap that too, but I'm not confident. It doesn't seem like we have anything lighting up on the dash. Yeah, no change. At least we have that lighting up, so that's cool. You know what I just realized about this auxiliary battery? I see all those little scratches on the metal right on the fender. And this is a positive post on the battery, so this could have easily been touching that, as I just did now, and that will probably make a contact and drain your batteries completely. Honestly, it's even possible that it would have caught on fire or fried some electrical components. I don't know. That may have something to do with what we're dealing with. You should definitely have these batteries secured. Doesn't look like there's any sort of bracket holding it in place. Because if this thing was getting grounded over there, this wire would probably end up like melting somewhere and potentially just completely destroying the insulation, and maybe it's grounding itself somewhere along the way here. I'm not super confident about this, but it's worth testing out. So looking at this junction box, obviously this is where this whole thing should be at 12 volts. This is where the truck gains our power. So when I check the voltage difference between this and this should all be just about 0. Because all of this is under the same voltage, it's all at 12. And I noticed that this huge wire that is, I'm positive it's supposed to be hot, looks like it's leading to our fuse box. It has 0 volts flowing through it. And that's why we have the voltage difference over 11.7, because this is at 12 and this is at 0. Somehow, some way, this thing is not getting any power, and I wonder if there's some sort of a contact that's broken in here. And now that I'm thinking about this, this isn't just a junction. These are probably fuses, these are breakers. And potentially because of that battery grounding out over there, one of these may have blown. Oh, there we go. Yep, and look at that. With that thing gone, look at this. This is a blown fuse if I've ever seen one. Looks like this is all that we are dealing with. We just have a blown fuse. A main fuse, a very, very important fuse, but a blown fuse nevertheless. Okay, so all we have to do is just replace this. I honestly could probably even just start the truck by hooking up a jumper cable from here to here, and then we should be fine. But I'm a little scared of doing that because I'm not positive if this thing is still grounded somewhere, so we should check that. Because the only reason why that fuse would blow is if there is an infinite voltage drop, or how to explain this, infinite current draw somewhere in this wire. That's what would cause that fuse to blow. So if there is something that is asking for an infinite amount of amps, that's exactly what would blow the fuse, because the wire cannot handle that and the wire would catch on fire. We just need to make sure that this wire isn't touching a piece of bare metal somewhere or any sort of a ground, anything that would give it an opportunity to just take in infinite amounts of electricity, because then this wire wouldn't be able to handle that and it would melt. So in order to prevent that, we have that fuse. It looks like it's simply feeding our fuse box here. Luckily, all of these fuses seem to be okay. Great for us, meaning that we don't have to replace the entire fuse box or all of these fuses, whatever would be cheaper. This is Zach. This is Zach, who is doing a lot of body work for us. And we partnered up on this truck together, as well as this cruise, whatever, and that Chevy. I think as soon as we bypass this, we're gonna be good.
So we could probably just solder that.
I was thinking about it, but that's gonna mess with the fuse abilities of it. So if there is an electrical issue and we have this soldered at a wrong amperage, because we can't really control that, it's not going to blow when it's supposed to blow. And the guy that we're buying all the parts from has this, so I already asked for it. But what I think had caused it, so this is our secondary battery and this is our positive post. The battery is not secured. So see those dots on the fender? It was just grounding itself out on the fender, and probably during the accident, since it's on this side, the battery probably slid that way and just grounded itself out on the fender. And that most likely is what blew our fuse.
Oh, I bet that's what it was.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I'm just a little scared that there is a grounding elsewhere. If that was grounding out there, this that was connected to that should have gotten grounded, not this fuse. I don't get why it was this fuse that blew and not the one that this battery was connected to. So I'm a little scared of just jumping this connection and checking it.
Unless, what if it just broke?
Maybe.
Maybe it just like broke right there, because there's really no like burn marks on the...
Right. If it is something else, and we let all this current flow through there,
Yeah.
it might fry a lot of stuff. If you want to, we can try and see if it cranks. Just keep an eye on the wire and make sure that if it does start getting warm or smoking, I think this might work. We could just do that. So theoretically, it should be getting power now. I mean, nothing's blowing up, so hopefully we're not grounding out. Let's give this a shot. The cluster is still not turning on. Nope, nothing. Come on.
Did you check all the fuses for like maybe the ignition?
I didn't. I did not. I probably should have. I'm gonna test every single fuse, even though we probably don't really have to test every single one. I might as well. All the fuses check out. That means that we still don't have an explanation for why nothing is working. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I guess this thing was not really doing what we wanted to do. For whatever reason, this wasn't making a good enough contact, which is quite odd. But the screwdriver worked. How do I do this so that the screwdriver stays in place and doesn't get melted? Oh yeah. There we go. All right. I heard the fuel pump prime, so we have ignition for sure. Oh yeah, look at that, we got lights. Oh yeah, baby. All right, let's see it. Okay. Battery saver active. I think it's possible that we just have, yeah, battery low. Look at that, that's so cool. Woo! Okay, that was probably the screwdriver popping off due to the vibrations. No, the screwdriver just fell off.
You want me to hold it?
Yeah, if you want to. You should be safe. I think. I'm no electrician.
God.
I'm no electrician, but you should be safe. Woo! Sounds a little louder than it should be, I feel like. Might have a bit of an exhaust leak. Maybe not. No, actually, no, that's fine.
Sounds really good.
Sweet.
Dude, that's awesome.
125 bucks. Hell yeah. Oh, it's dumping that coolant from right there.
Oh.
Okay, no, all right. Well, I guess there's no point in letting it continue running. These do have that air fuel management system that I hear is pretty bad, but at this mileage it should be fine. I was just gonna try and find the toolkit for removing our spare. And well, it seems that the truck has decided to not let me back in. That's not very good. Luckily, we are getting a brand new door, so technically I don't really care about what happens to this one. I'm pretty sure the door is gonna include the window, but by the way, speaking of windows, these things are freaking tinted. This is some very, very dark tint. Don't know how legal that is, and I mean, the front windshield being tinted is definitely illegal. So that was a choice. And I don't know who this truck belonged to. Like, it was some sort of a company. We have multiple fire department stickers over here. So I don't know, that potentially is a clue, but none of these lights are fire department, like none of them are red. Bottom line is that we gotta get inside so that we can get the toolkit, get the spare out, put the spare on this wheel, and actually have this thing be drivable so that I can get it inside the shop, take off all the wheels, install our new tires, and you know, just get on with it. We have lots to do. Here's the key we got at the dealership, and hopefully this lock has not been changed in the past. Okay. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. All right. Zach and I managed to find a local part out within an hour and a half away, which had all the parts that we needed. So without further ado, I just jumped right into changing the fuse box. With that all said, the next item on the to-do list was the coolant bottle, which had the hose connection broken off. What I feel like no one ever talks about is how convenient is this little platform that is amazing for holding all your tools. There we go. Okay, the fuse box is all buttoned up. Some of you may look at this and be like, this is a terrible repair, this looks awful, it's unprofessional, but honestly, this is holding on better than the original terminal did. I think this is actually a pretty good idea. Judge me if you want, but I don't see that coming off, and then the bolt, the weird looking U-shaped bolt that this car came with, did a worse job at holding down this terminal than the hose clamp did. The coolant tank is properly secured. Is this loose? That is loose, look at that. I don't know if, oh wow, look at that, that is just barely tight.
We should definitely tighten that down because that could easily cause check engine lights. As you can see, our MAF sensor is right here, so the car calculates the amount of air coming through over here, and if we have air leaking out here, then the car would not be able to run properly. Much better, look at that, sweet.
Parts are just installed in the engine bay.
This door, that door, both of the front seats, headlight, grille, and the fuse box cover that's on the side of the dash.
For whatever reason that is missing in our truck. All of this ended up being $1,440, which is a pretty solid deal. It sounds expensive, but these Silverado parts are not cheap. Oh, and we also got a fender, but Zach has the fender at his shop. The fender came with a bit of a dent on it, as well as some rust starting to form, so he's gonna fix that.
Well, I'm going to install all of this.
Anyway, yeah, these Silverado parts, especially for a truck this new, are quite expensive. The fenders alone are like $400, new or used, and this is actually quite a decent deal that we found locally within an hour away. Pretty satisfied with this haul. I think this is going to save us a good amount of money.
A lot of this will likely not have to be repainted, which is great.
Ideally, I wish we had a bumper, and the guy was selling a bumper, but I think he wanted $500 for it, which is a little too expensive, and our bumper is not like destroyed. I think it's still usable, so we're probably just gonna try and reuse that and just repair it to the best of our ability.
Clearly, this would have been a much easier job before the snow and before it got cold, but at least I know I did this to myself. Now, normally I would have just thrown a wheel dolly under this wheel, would have driven this inside the shop in rear wheel drive and gotten it on the lift and then removed the wheels that way, but my lift is currently taken up by my dad's car that I'm fixing for him, and I'm currently waiting for parts for that before I can get it off the lift. So we gotta do this the old-fashioned way, which is okay. Now this thing does have rough country shocks on it. I have no idea if that's stock. I would assume not, but we do know that there is some modifications to the suspension on the back already. So I was told that this thing here, I think, is what's modified. Basically allows it to add a little more capacity to the rear axle weight carrying capacities. I'm not a truck guy, so I'm learning. Guys, don't judge me too hard, but yeah, at the moment I don't know much about these things, so we're learning as we go. I mean, I'm not surprised that this truck is crashed. Do you see the condition of these tires? This is a little too far gone. And I understand tires can be expensive sometimes, but guys, if you want to save money on tires, just go on Facebook, look for your desired size, because very frequently you're gonna find some good deals out there, such as this. I found a set of these. They are all-terrains for light trucks, LT, I think that's what that stands for. And I bought a set of these, all for $100. And as you can see, I mean, sure, they don't have a ton of life, but they do have life. Now, this good old girl is probably like 3 times older than I am. And it's definitely not the best when it comes to tire machines, but luckily, truck tires like these I should be able to handle because they have a lot of sidewall, so I think we'll be okay. If I'm ever dealing with low-profile tires, I mean, not even possible. I can't make it happen. Not to mention that my skills as a tire technician are next to zero. It is possible that this machine just completely gave up on me. Spin, what is your problem? What happened? Something decided to stop working. I'm so sick of working on this thing. Right, so I redid some of the wiring and reinstalled the old motor that was in this machine when I had gotten it. I had previously replaced this with a brand new motor thinking that this thing was going out. Turns out, no, that's just how weak these machines are and how bad my tire technician skills are. So we're gonna throw this back in and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's gonna work again. All right, let's try and test this and hopefully we don't blow things up. Okay, so far so good. I believe we're good to go in here. The belt is connected. Yeah, should be fine. Well, what's up with that? Turns out this thing just blew a fuse with the old motor. We have the new motor in, doesn't matter. The wiring should be all good now, so without further ado, all right, spins counterclockwise, spins clockwise. Awesome. Put this thing back together and go back to our Silverado tires. And hey, if you would like me to get better at this and have better equipment, make sure to subscribe so that I can afford a better tire machine and deliver better content where I'm fixing trucks and cars rather than tire machines. And even if you do like watching me fix tire machines, you know, still subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Thanks. Unfortunately, this old guy doesn't work either. So unfortunately, I can't balance my own tires. We're gonna have to take these wheels elsewhere to get them balanced afterwards, which is okay. Luckily, our wheel looks straight. I don't think there's any bends. Not that I imagine these to be expensive, but still. There we go. Those of you who didn't know, mounting tires is hard work, so be aware of that. Go easy on your tire mounting person next time you're at a tire shop. Let's make this tire technician appreciation video. I mean, obviously certain machines do make it way easier, but it still sucks every single time. Looks like this is actually gonna be easier to do without using the machine, which is great. I'm cool with that. Yeah. Nice. What are the chances that we're not gonna have to use explosives to get this thing to beat up? Chances of that are quite low. So explosives it is. I'm sure you guys are happy to see that. I like to use starting fluid. It seems to work really good, like scary good, because it is meant to be highly, highly flammable. And that's what's worked for me in the past. So, okay, we're gonna give it air. Okay, that was a fail. Woo, there we go. That's the result we're looking for. Now that I'm slowly refreshing my memory on how to do this stuff, the others should be easier and quicker, hopefully. I think it's safe to say that I'm getting better because this thing only took me about 10 to 15 minutes. All right, I threw in our second fully charged battery, and hopefully between that one being slightly dead and this one being fully charged, we have enough to start this truck up. So without further ado, I think it's time for me to drive this thing for the first time. And by drive, I mean putting it inside the shop. We got this, right? Okay, we got lights. All right, all good, right? No, start. Come on. Oh, I think this key's not programmed. That might be why. Silly me, silly me. This is the key we want. Yeah. There we go. I think we might have a bit of an exhaust leak over here. I'm definitely hearing something. Yeah, just a little combination of sounds. No idea what that sound is. Like a little screeching. Whatever. We do have some lights on dash. I see nothing, but it is way too cold for me to worry about cleaning the windshield. So we're just gonna assume that we know how to drive. Okay, first moves of the Silverado. Okay, we do have a flashing check engine light. Don't know what that's about. And it's definitely not driving as perfect as I would have hoped. Like, it seems to have some power delivery issues. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty concerned by how this truck was driving. I think we have some issues. I can't even put my finger on it, but it just felt like if I had to throw out a random guess out there, I would say it has like a bent drive shaft or something along those lines, because it just felt like it had a lot of resistance when rolling, and like there was a time that it would roll fine, but then it would have a lot of resistance and it would slow down, even though I'm not giving it any input with like the brake or anything. And yeah, so we have some diagnosing to do. We're about to read the codes. At least we know it's drivable, so that's already a bonus. But if we have to change the transmission on it, I will be very upset. All right, we have O2 sensor code. The secondary O2 sensor doesn't affect how the car drives. It's simply there for emissions and throws a code if there's an issue with the catalytic converter. Steering position, not plausible. Brake booster. Okay, so this was unplugged for whatever reason. And then invalid data from body control module. What does that mean? Maybe we're gonna clear that. That is weird. I don't know why that would be happening. I'm not sure what causes body control module issues. All codes are now cleared. I don't really want to stink up the shop, but okay, I mean, it seems to be running fine. I'm not noticing misfires. You know, considering the fact that this truck had been crashed, it's not outside the realm of possibility that we have a bent drive shaft, so we should definitely take a look under the truck. So the drive shaft is looking good. The tank is looking good too, apart from this being broken. Pretty clean down here. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of how wet this transmission is. That is a lot of fluid leaking out of it. Okay, the good news is that we did check the fluid levels, and both the oil and the transmission fluid seem to have been fine on levels. I just don't know why it was driving so weird. And the fact that we have no communication with the body control module is also very odd. Okay, obviously this thing is not fully secured with only 2 of the 4 mounts being tightened down to the body, but honestly, for the meantime, this is going to be sufficient. All I want to do is just drive it around a little and see what it is that we're dealing with. So apart from these exhaust modifications, let's see if we can find anything that could be wrong with our secondary O2 sensor. Okay, so this is our secondary O2 sensor. This is our primary. The wiring is somewhere in there. That's all good. What don't you like? Could be on the other bank. But outside of that, I mean... Oh, wait. Holy crap, this thing is missing cats. How did I not notice that? Okay. Well, and that also explains why it was so stinky in the shop after I pulled it in. Somebody did a cat delete on it. I thought it was a little too loud on startup. Well, this explains it. And not only did they delete the cats, they also used piping that is a little too small, as you can see. I mean, that is just not ideal. So this definitely explains our codes for the O2 sensors. Does not explain our misfires though. Oh, and something I did forget to do is fill the coolant. Come on, drink up, little Chevy. Oh no. Now the good thing about having no catalytic converters is the fact that I don't need to be scared about the misfires, because frequently if your car is misfiring, you could mount your catalytic converters by not doing anything about it, by letting the car drive. But with having straight pipes instead of catalytic converters, all that unburned fuel can just leak down into the exhaust and make some fun noises. Not saying that this car is going to sound like that, but I don't know, it could be possible. There's a weird sound coming from the transmission area, maybe transfer case. Maybe this thing keeps trying to switch into 4. No, this looks like it's a mechanical shifter. Yep, we were misfiring. We're misfiring pretty hard. It could be bad gas. We don't know how long this thing has sat in Copart. Just that noise, it's just driving me crazy. I'm pretty sure that's coming from the transmission.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Do we have a blown trans? We might. Okay, now our traction control light came back on, and we have TPMS lights. All right, let's just drive it and see what happens. Oh yeah, there's like no throttle response. Oh man, if I have to do the trans on this thing, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, I mean, it is driving. We do have brake. It is shifting. Very, very, very weird noises. We are doing like 30 miles an hour. It's not doing anything super scary, but I have noticed a few weird downshifts. Let's see if this happens again. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but there was like no pickup. There's no acceleration. I think the oh. What am I gonna do? I don't want to swap the trans. Very, 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 very bad news. I have no idea how expensive the trans would be for this thing. Why is it blowing a transmission at 130,000 miles? I mean, seriously. Chevy guys, tell me about this, please. I think I've heard that the 6-speed is pretty bad. Well, if you weren't sure about how bad this car was maintained before, we surely are sure now. Between that noise coming from the transmission and how weird the shifting was and the lack of throttle response, I think the trans is slipping. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do some research and see what we can find out. All right, let's finally take a decent look at what's under it. I am gonna get pretty wet from all the melting snow. The things I do for you guys. We are looking at a pretty wet transmission. However, I did check the fluid level. That seemed to have been fine. I really don't think that we are simply dealing with a lack of fluid issue. This seems to be, based on the research I've done, these 6L80E transmissions are notorious for blowing all the time, right around this mileage. So the good news is that we have, I mean, practically no rust. This is actually, for Wisconsin, this is amazing. This passenger side wheel seems very, very cambered, and we do remember seeing that on the tire wear. I think we do have some sort of a suspension issue over here. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm not noticing this play in the ball joints. It might be in the wheel bearing. Yeah, no play in these or the rear wheels. Problem is that even with the blown bearing, that wouldn't cause this huge camber issues. So I have a suspicion that potentially this wheel had hit like a curb during the same accident, or maybe in a separate accident, we don't know. There might be a bent control arm, or it just knocked itself out of alignment. As these ball joints look perfectly okay, I'm not noticing any play in them. So I'm wondering if one of these guys is bent. Probably the top one, because that is a lot less heavy duty, or the adjustment up top got messed up. With all these major issues that might take forever to resolve, I figure I'll focus on something that I know I can do and I know it's easy, and that is replacing the doors. I do have to try and remove our key cylinder because obviously that is not going to match on our new door. There's a little bolt in there that you can unscrew, and that'll let this slide out, but obviously with the damages of this door, I'm not really sure if that's going to happen. And now, because of that, the little screw in there is not really where it's supposed to be, so I had to drill this out a hole. It is very, very likely that the mechanism inside is completely destroyed and it's not even gonna let this thing slide out. I'm very, very hopeful because I don't have another choice apart from just slicing this door up and pulling this thing out of there that way. Come on. Yes. Okay. In theory, this was supposed to come out with it. At least that's how it worked on the Cruise that I've recently rebuilt, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. All right, now the entire door mechanism is that's inside the door is completely loose, but we won't be able to remove it without fully removing the interior door card. So I guess we have no choice but to do that. We just want to get inside of this so that we can pull out our door handle mechanism. All right, we've got the door off. This was pretty easy, just 4 10mm bolts over here, and of course the connector. I had a hard time getting this door on because of the fender being bent here, and I don't want to scratch up the door. But I think it would be in our best interest to replace the door hinges because our new door came with those. Our new hinges seem to be in much better shape, and I'm very glad that I decided to change these because looking at the old ones, these are a lot more floppy. Again, how many times did these people, the previous owners, get in and out of this truck in the amount of time they've owned it? This door and all the stuff that it came off of a truck that was very close to 200,000 miles. I think it was like 190. 60,000 miles worth of use on that other truck, and everything seems to be in better shape. Door hinges, window switches, seats. How does that happen? With the new door installed, I needed to take out the key cylinder once again so that I can swap them. And now that I could get a good look at both of them, I realized that our existing one was broken. Like really broken. It was missing a solid chunk of it, meaning that I had to completely take these things apart and install the mechanisms inside from one to the other. Until finally. Okay, I think that is operational. Sweet. Okay, so theoretically now everything should work. Looks like our door latches. Okay, and I think the key just locked it and unlocked it. I guess there's one way to find out. Okay, I have the passenger door opened. This way, I'm not gonna get locked out of the car. So, don't forget that our hinges are currently not secured. That's why the door is not lining up. Okay, it looks like it had latched. It doesn't wanna open. And if we lock it, there we go, truck is locked. And then we unlock it and truck is unlocked. Perfect, mission completed successfully. Now when it comes to the door card, I am faced with quite a debate because I'm not sure if I want to use our nicer condition black interior versus the one with the gray insert over here that came on this truck. These are just in much better shape. The window regulators are in way better shape. Obviously I could just swap the window regulator, but I personally just like the black leather a lot more. But the problem with that is that it's not going to match with the rest of the interior, the other two door cards. But I'm thinking I'm gonna throw this in, I'm gonna keep the door cards, and if the future buyer of this truck wants the other ones, he can throw them in. Luckily, these things are pretty easy to swap, so we're always gonna have that option. I'll just make sure not to throw those out. Okay, I don't think I'd be able to sell this as a $10,000 truck when our seats are looking like this. And honestly, especially if we do like a built transmission, or at least like a transmission with a billet torque converter cover, I think this might be like even a $12,000 truck. Now, my biggest issue with the seats is that our new seats are automatic. They're motorized. All of the adjustments and stuff like that is via motors, and I don't know if all of these trucks came wired for the seat to just plug into. So potentially there's already a power cable running up to the seat. That is what I'm really hoping for, because I think wiring this in for automatic seats would be quite an adventure that I don't think I'm ready to do. Yay! All right guys, now it's the moment of truth. We're going to get our new seat in, plug it in, and see if all of our motors work. All right, please. Okay, this is connected. You guys ready? Yes! See that? Woo! This is such good news. Okay, perfect. So we can just toss these seats in and be good to go. As you guys can imagine, with me doing all this, I very frequently run into cars that, well, either have blown transmissions or don't operate in other ways, such as completely dead batteries, flat tires, and, well,
plenty of other issues, but the first two we can easily fix with the sponsor of today's video, AmpBank. AmpBank can send me their AP3000 just to test it out, review it, let you guys know what I think about it. This thing here is a 3000 amp jump starter, which should be sufficient for plenty of vehicles that I deal with, but we've all seen jump starters left and right. What really makes this thing special is the fact that it's also an air compressor, and everything is built into this unit, which I absolutely love. I do have a separate jump starter and a separate like plug-in air compressor, which is a pain in the butt to wire it in at this cigarette lighter and then carry it out, and especially if you're doing all four tires, it just gets very annoying to deal with that. This thing has a super long hose that you can just pop in right there. It clicks in, it's a quick disconnect, and then set up our tire pressure to whatever we want it to be. I think this truck is supposed to be at 35, so we're just gonna go with that, and there we go. It's gonna start pumping it up. And unlike the 6080 transmission in our Silverado, it is quite tough. It's built tough. It's built tough. Where have I heard that before? As you can see, this here is the actual battery unit, and then all of this stuff is rubber protection, which is gonna make it pretty shockproof. And if your lights go out, you just push down the button, and here we go. We can see everything, and it's easy to carry around. Look at that. It just can I show this to you at the same time? Probably not. So I'm genuinely a big fan of this product, and I think you should get one. So if you would like to, just click on the link in the description, get yourself one of these, and be prepared for almost anything the wild roads can throw at you. Now with the doors and seats installed, here's what we have left. We have to do our fender, the cab, and of course, well, we have to do the transmission and some little minor stuff like the bumper and cleaning and figuring out what the misfires are. Now the cab will require some significant body work that I'm in no way qualified for, but for now that ends part one. I think we're going to do the rest in the second video, and hopefully in the second video on this truck we're gonna sell it. Not sure how long it's gonna take, but I will do my very best to keep you guys updated as soon as I can. Now, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the next update. And I really hope I'll see you next time.